Chapter 1, The Girl with the Healing Hands. The night came with a whisper. The wind danced through the tall silverwoods that crowned the village of Aloan, rustling the leaves like quiet prayers to the moon. Lanterns flickered along the cobbled paths, casting golden halos that swayed with the breeze. But in a small hut at the edge of the forest, where the sky met the mist and the river sang lullabies to the earth, a girl sat alone, her hands glowing softly as they hovered above an injured deer. Her name was Lyra. With hair like raven silk and eyes the color of storm clouds before rain, Lyra was unlike the other girls in the village. She was quiet, careful, and cursed, the elders whispered. Not born to Aloan, but found one summer's eve wrapped in moss and moonlight, cradled by the roots of the forest itself. They feared her. She could mend bones with a touch, close wounds with a whisper. Even fever bowed to her will. Yet no one thanked her. They came in desperation, paid with silence, and left with hurried steps, never looking back. But Lyra never asked for thanks. She had only the woods, the stars, and the voice in her dreams that sometimes sang in an ancient tongue. A voice both comforting and haunting. A voice that called her by a name she didn't recognize, Ilarieth. That night, after healing the deer, she stepped outside. The moon was full, casting the forest in silver shadows. She felt something strange. A ripple in the air. Like the world had held its breath. And then she saw it. A man? No, a figure, staggering through the trees, clutching his side. His cloak was scorched, blood trailing behind him, and with every step, steam rose from his body. The plants around him sizzled, burned. He collapsed just meters from her door. Lyra ran. She fell to her knees beside him. His skin burned like embers, his breath ragged. He looked barely older than she was, perhaps 19, with tousled dark hair and a face carved from sorrow and battle. But his chest, it glowed. Faint lines of red fire spiraled across his ribs like living veins of flame. "Help," he rasped. "Don't let them find me." Lyra hesitated. This man wasn't normal. Magic pulsed from him, wild, unstable, dangerous. And yet, her heart knew him. Before fear could stop her, she dragged him inside. Her hands trembled as she gathered water, herbs, spell-soaked cloth. But the moment her palms touched his chest, a jolt rushed through her. A surge of heat and memory. A voice echoed in her mind. "When fire meets light, the ancient bond shall ignite." The stranger gasped and seized. Her hut trembled. Candles blew out. The river outside froze mid-current. And then silence. His eyes snapped open, glowing with flickering gold like the heart of a flame. For a breathless moment they locked eyes. And the world felt still. "Who are you?" Lyra whispered. He winced, his voice a breath. "My name is Kael. I am the Fireborn Prince. And they want me dead." Chapter 2, The Prince of Embers. The stranger, Kael, lay stretched across Lyra's small cot, his breathing shallow, his body trembling with heat that defied nature. Steam coiled from his skin like mist from boiling water, yet his lips had gone pale, and his brow glistened with sweat. Lyra paced the room, panic and instinct battling within her. Prince? Fireborn? What madness had she pulled into her home? Her hands hovered above him once more, shaking. When she touched him, her magic flared violently, not like her usual healing glow, but something deeper, wilder. She muttered ancient words her tongue somehow remembered, and a golden light spilled from her palms. Kael stirred. His voice cracked. "Don't use too much. The curse, it spreads through contact." But it was too late. A spiral of glowing flame markings bloomed on Lyra's wrist, wrapping up her arm like a delicate tattoo, burning yet painless. She gasped. Something sacred had passed between them. "What did you do to me?" she asked. Kael's voice was weak yet sharp. "It's the flame curse. I was born with it. No one can touch me and live, except maybe you." "Why?" "I don't know," he said. "But you didn't burn. You soothed it." He paused, staring at her through half-lidded eyes. "You're not just a healer. You're something else." Lyra looked away, the pulse in her chest screaming. Her heart knew it. The voice in her dreams, the magic that came without learning. She wasn't just healing Kael. She was awakening something in herself. Outside, the air thickened. Lyra sensed them before she heard them. Riders. Black armor. No lanterns. No hooves. Silent. Deadly. They were searching. Kael's hands trembled as he sat up. They're here. Malvora's hunters. They'll burn this place to the ground to find me. Who's Malvora? He met her gaze, and in his eyes, Lyra saw terror wrapped in defiance. My stepmother. The Queen Regent. She cursed me at birth, so I could never love. Never be loved. She fears what I might become. The heat in the air thickened. Lyra opened a hidden trapdoor in the floor, an old root cellar. Hide. Now. Kael hesitated. You don't even know me. Why would you protect me? She looked him in the eye. Because something inside me is waking up. And I think it has everything to do with you. Kael disappeared into the dark below just as shadows passed her window. Knock. Knock. Open in the name of the crown, a voice hissed. Lyra exhaled slowly. The Flamebond had begun. Chapter 3, A Spell Awakened. The riders left before dawn. They questioned Lyra, searching her hut with sharp eyes and sharper blades. But she stood her ground, calm, collected, her hands folded as though nothing in her life had changed. When they left, one paused by her gate, sniffing the air like a hound. There's magic here, he muttered. Old magic. Too old. Lyra didn't answer. When they vanished into the woods, she collapsed to her knees. Her hands still trembled, not from fear but from the heat that still pulsed in her veins. The strange fire mark on her wrist had stopped glowing, but it hadn't faded. Kael emerged from the cellar, pale and silent. He looked at her like he was seeing someone, or something, for the first time. You shouldn't have lied for me, he said. You shouldn't have come here burning like a star, she replied. Their eyes met. Tension buzzed between them, electric, ancient, alive. Later that morning, Kael slept deeply, the fever breaking at last. Lyra stepped outside into the fog. The trees whispered around her, leaves curling inward. The air was heavier, like the forest was watching. She wandered deeper into the woods, led by instinct, until she reached the place the villagers called Whisperroot Grove. No one ever came here, too many old tales. But Lyra heard the voice again. Ilariath, flame has found light. Destiny calls. Suddenly the earth trembled. A circle of stones burst from the moss, glowing with blue runes. In the center, a pool of water shimmered, like glass catching moonlight. Lyra stepped closer and saw her reflection. But it wasn't her. The woman in the water wore silver robes, a crown of stars and eyes filled with galaxies. She raised a hand. You are the daughter of the moon enchantress, the reflection spoke, though Lyra never moved her lips. He is the flame. You are the light. The curse that binds him binds you now too. Lyra fell back, gasping. The stones dimmed. The pool darkened. And when she looked again, it was just her. Back at the hut, Kael was awake. He stared at the markings on his chest, now linked to the spiral on her arm. I've felt this once before, he whispered. In an old tale. It's called the Flamebond. A what? It's a spell. Ancient. Forbidden. A connection that forms only once every few centuries, when fire and light fall in love. But the last Flamebond ended in death. He looked at her, terrified. We're bound now, Lyra. Our fates are linked. If I die, so do you. Silence filled the room. The candles flickered. Outside, crows screamed in the distance. Somewhere, in the depths of the enchanted realm, something old had awakened. And it was watching them. Chapter 4, Flames in the Dark. They left the village under cover of moonlight. Lyra's hut, her herbs, her quiet life, all abandoned. Kael had warned her, if the Flamebond was real, they'd both be hunted. Not just by Queen Malvora, but by every faction of the magical realm that feared the ancient prophecy. Flame and light, he whispered, when joined, have the power to undo kingdoms. Their journey took them into the shadowed path of the Arden Vale, a forest known for strange whispers and illusions. Trees twisted like reaching hands. Magic hung thick in the air, heavy, fragrant, alive. Lyra could feel it in her bones. Every night, her dreams grew stranger. She saw Kael as a child, flames in his cradle. She saw herself standing beneath two moons, calling lightning with her voice. When she awoke, her heart would race, and Kael would be sitting beside her, watching over her with silent intensity. Their bond was changing them. Kael had stopped burning her. His fire didn't lash out anymore, it pulsed in rhythm with her light. They were growing attuned. Two opposite halves of one ancient spell. "I don't know what's happening to us," she confessed one night, beside a flickering campfire in a forest glade. "But I'm not afraid of you anymore." Kael turned toward her slowly. Shadows danced on his face. "You should be." She leaned closer. "And yet, I'm not." Silence stretched between them. Long, breathless. Charge. Then he kissed her. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't careful. It was fire meeting storm, a kiss that sizzled through their blood, igniting every rune, every mark, every spell that lived in their veins. The earth trembled. The trees shook. Their magic exploded in colors only the stars understood. And from the sky, something answered. A streak of light fell from the heavens like a comet, striking the heart of the forest. The Flamebond had fully awakened. But so had something else. From the edge of the glade, a monstrous cry echoed, low, guttural, ancient. Lyra broke from Kael's arms, heart pounding. The trees parted. A beast stepped through, towering, scaled, eyes like molten gold. "A flame-bound pair," it growled. "After centuries." Kael pushed Lyra behind him. "What are you?" "I am Vorik, sentinel of the fire realm. Keeper of the prophecy. And you have broken time itself." Vorik lifted a clawed hand. Magic surged around him like a storm. "You must come with me, or die where you stand." Kael flared with fire. Lyra's light swirled around her like moonlight armor. Together, their magic created a shield that deflected Vorik's strike, barely. Then Lyra's voice rang out, not in fear but in power. "We are bound by destiny. And we will not be broken." Her words echoed with ancient force. The spell of the flame bond pulsed outward, blinding the beast. When the light faded, Vorik was gone. Kael stared at her, stunned. "What was that?" Lyra clutched her chest, breathing hard. "I don't know," she whispered. "But something inside me just woke up." From the distance, drums echoed. The queen had heard. The chase had truly begun. Chapter 5, The Sorceress Queen. Far across the mountains, past the river of lost names, within the cold stone walls of Velander's shadow keep, the queen sat in silence. Not on a throne, but in a mirror room lit by black fire. Queen Malvora. The name dripped like venom on every tongue. Beautiful. Eternal. Hollow. Her hair flowed like liquid obsidian, untouched by time. Her robe shimmered with a darkness so rich, it drank light. Around her, mirrors hung from iron chains, each reflecting a different world, a different time. But one mirror, cracked in the center, flickered with flame and silver light. She watched it with narrowed eyes. "So," she whispered, voice cold as mountain frost, "the boy has awakened the flame bond." Her hands, pale and veined with ink-dark magic, clenched. The runes along her sleeves glowed like coals. And he found the girl. Behind her, the mirror keepers trembled. "Should we send the riders again, my queen?" She smiled, slow and cruel. "No. That won't be enough now. He has touched love. He's begun to unravel the curse." She rose, her body a silhouette of power and poison. "Love," she spat the word, "was the only thing I couldn't burn out of him. But no matter. The spell I cast was bound in his blood. If he completes the flame bond." She turned to the largest mirror, one ringed with dragon bone. "Then I must finish what I started." From the shadows, she summoned her sword, a jagged blade forged in the ashes of the last enchantress. With it she could slice through dimensions and dreams. "Track the girl," she hissed. "Bring her to me. Alive." A shadow twisted behind the glass. "And if the prince stands in your way?" Her smile deepened. "Burn his soul. Leave his body. I'll use it to bait the stars." Meanwhile, Lyra and Kael had crossed into the Whispering Range, a valley where sound bent and mountains spoke in dreams. Every step brought strange memories, not their own, echoes of lovers long dead, lives long past. "This place remembers us," Lyra whispered. Or waits for us to become them, Kael replied. They stopped beside a frozen lake, setting up camp beneath a shattered cliff. Lyra stared into the fire. She's coming for us, isn't she? Kael nodded. Malvora doesn't stop until she owns or destroys what threatens her. I've seen her, Lyra whispered. In my visions. She's not just a queen. No. She's something worse. She was once like you, chosen by the stars. Until she used her love to curse the world. He hesitated. She loved my father once. He died loving her. Lyra placed a hand on his. And you fear you'll become him? He didn't answer. But in the silence she knew. That night they held each other under the stars, not as saviors, not as warriors, but as two people slowly falling into something deeper than magic. And high above, the queen whispered through the mirror's edge. Let them love. Let them burn. I will return, and they will kneel. Chapter 6. The Oracle's Prophecy. The path to the Oracle's Hollow was not marked on any map. It lay hidden within the spine of the world, deep beneath the ashen cliffs, where light forgot to shine. No one sought the Oracle unless they were prepared to bleed for truth. Kael and Lyra stood before the craggy entrance. A yawning cave, its mouth etched with ancient glyphs that pulsed when Lyra approached. The ground trembled. The glyphs recognized her. Only those who are both fire and light may enter, Kael whispered, translating the runes. Lyra glanced at him. Together, then, they stepped into the darkness, and it swallowed them whole. Inside, the air was thick with voices. Not words, memories. Whispers of broken vows, lost kings, betrayed spells. Bones littered the floor, bleached white. The walls glowed with silver fireflies that vanished at their touch. And then, a light. Not fire. Not moonlight. Truth light. It shimmered like woven silk, spiraling around a stone platform where a being waited. Neither woman nor spirit, but something in between. Cloaked in layers of time and mist, her face veiled by flowing silver threads, she was the oracle of flame and sky. Her voice echoed like a distant storm. Two have come, flame and light, as the stars once promised. Lyra stepped forward. We need to know what we are. What we've become. The oracle nodded slowly. You are the final Flamebond. The last thread of the spell that began when the world was born. You are lovers cursed, and salvation awakened. Kael frowned. Cursed? The oracle lifted a skeletal hand and motioned toward a pool that shimmered beside her. In its reflection they saw 1,000 lifetimes. Lovers embracing, torn apart by fire or storm. Some fell in war. Some by betrayal. Some by fate. Every Flamebond ends in death, she said. Because love that powerful cannot be contained by mortal hands. Lyra's heart sank. So we're destined to die? The oracle looked at her, through her. Not both. One. The prophecy is this. When flame and light unite, the darkness shall shatter, but only through sacrifice. One heart must break for the world to heal. Silence hung like a blade over their heads. Kael's jaw clenched. Then I'll be the one. If one of us must die. No. Lyra's voice cracked. Don't say that. You don't understand, Kael said, eyes burning. I was born with a curse. My life is already borrowed time. But you are the key to everything. Lyra turned to the oracle. There must be another way. The oracle's voice softened. There is always another way, but the cost may be greater than death. She reached out and touched Lyra's forehead. In an instant, Lyra saw it, a vision of herself cloaked in starlight, casting a forbidden spell so powerful it tore the sky apart. She saw Kael ablaze, his body crumbling, and then whole again, born anew through her tears. She gasped and fell to her knees. What did you show her? Kael demanded. But the oracle was already fading. The ending? Depends on the choices you have yet to make. Outside the cave, snow had begun to fall. Lyra and Kael walked in silence, the weight of destiny pressing on their shoulders like a crown made of fire. That night, as they lay beneath a shattered tree, Kael held her close. If I die for you, he whispered, then at least I lived for something real. And if I have to tear the world apart to save you, Lyra replied, Then the stars better prepare for war. Above them, the heavens shimmered with strange constellations. The prophecy had begun to unfold. Chapter 7, Betrayal in Velander. The wind howled like a warning. Kael and Lyra stood at the crest of Velander's black ridge, overlooking the city Kael once called home. Spires pierced the clouds and silver flags rippled in the cold wind. But the castle that rose at the heart of the capital was no longer the golden sanctuary of Kael's youth. It was cloaked in black stone. The magic that once protected Velander now cowered under the weight of Queen Malvora's rule. "We shouldn't be here," Lyra whispered. Kael's face was tight. "But we have to be. The Flamebond needs answers, and there's one man left in this city who might still help us." They met him in secret beneath the old Temple of the Four Moons, Kael's childhood friend, now a captain of the Queen's Guard. His name was Thalen, tall, dark-eyed, with hands that always seemed to hover near his blade. "I should kill you," Thalen said to Kael. "Your name is cursed." "And yet you haven't," Kael replied. Thalen's eyes shifted to Lyra. "She's the girl?" Kael stepped forward. "She's everything." Thalen studied Lyra a moment longer, then sighed. "You're risking everything by coming back. Malvora has spies in every shadow." "I don't care," Kael said. "We need access to the royal library. The Flamebond is changing. We need to know how to survive it." Thalen nodded slowly. "I'll take you. But one condition, when this is done, you leave Velander forever." Kael hesitated. "Deal." Lyra's fingers tightened around his. That night, under cover of darkness, Thalen led them through hidden tunnels beneath the palace ruins. The library was sealed by ancient magic, but when Lyra placed her hand on the door, it unlocked with a soft click. "Of course," Thalen muttered. "The mark of the enchantress." Books whispered as they passed. Scrolls rustled with invisible fingers. Lyra felt drawn to a tome bound in moon silver and fire thread. When she opened it, a rush of wind nearly knocked her down. She saw her mother. Not a painting, a memory woven into the pages. A woman with starlight in her hair and fire in her eyes stood before a council of mages. "The Flamebond must not be broken," she declared. "But neither must it be forced. Only love freely given can wield it." The vision flickered. A dark figure stepped from the shadows, a younger Malvora. "Love is weakness," she hissed. "And I will never kneel to it." The book snapped shut. Lyra staggered back. "She knew her," Lyra whispered. "Malvora knew my mother. She feared her." Kael touched her arm. "And that fear never died." But then, the trap closed. Thalen's sword was at Kael's throat in an instant. "I'm sorry," he said. "I had no choice." Dozens of guards swarmed from the shadows. The floor erupted in spells. Kael roared with fire, but Lyra was too slow. The collar snapped around her neck, cutting her magic off like a strangled breath. "You betrayed us," Lyra screamed. "I betrayed no one," Thalen said. "I'm saving you. You don't know what you're becoming." They were dragged in chains to the castle. Kael fought like a wild storm, his fire tearing down walls, until the queen herself stepped through the smoke. "My sweet prince," Malvora purred. "You've come home at last." Lyra spit at her feet. "You're a coward." Malvora laughed. "I'm a survivor. You're the one wearing iron now, girl." She turned to Kael, eyes gleaming with cold triumph. "You're still in love with her, aren't you? Then good. You'll watch her die. And that death will make you mine." Chapter 8, The Trial of Flames. The dungeons of Velander Castle were carved from obsidian and sorrow. The walls wept. Magic couldn't breathe here. Kael sat shackled, chains pulsing with runes that fed off his fire. His eyes were bloodshot, his lips cracked. Every moment in this place was agony. He didn't care. Because in the chamber below, Lyra screamed. She was being held in the Hall of Echoes, a chamber built by the first spell weavers. In its center stood a raised circle, the trial ring, etched with the symbols of all 7 sacred magics. It had not been used in over 200 years. Until now. Queen Malvora watched from above, wrapped in a mantle of shadow and malice. "You claim the blood of the moon enchantress," she said. "Then prove it." Lyra stood barefoot in the circle, her wrists marked with spellbinds. The iron collar still gripped her throat. "Release her," Malvora ordered. The collar snapped open with a crack of lightning. The air thickened. Lyra gasped. The magic rushed back in like a wave. Her pulse lit with silver sparks. Her bones sang. Her hands trembled. Malvora smiled cruelly. "You have one chance. Pass the trial, and I may spare him." "And if I fail?" Lyra asked. "Then you burn together." The torches flared blue. Suddenly the chamber shifted. The ring lifted into the air, surrounded by glowing orbs, memories, illusions, trials, each one a spell locked in time. Lyra had to pass through 7 tests, each one drawn from her soul's deepest truths. The first test was pain. She relived the night her adoptive mother died. Saw herself as a child, unable to heal fast enough. Her hands shook. She failed, again. Until she screamed, and her scream shattered the memory like glass. The second was temptation. A vision of Kael, crowned and kneeling, offering her the throne beside him, if she gave up the bond. If she let him die. She wept. Never. The illusion melted. The third was betrayal. Thalen stood before her, unrepentant. "You're becoming the very thing you were meant to fight," he warned. "You're too powerful now." She struck him down, not in rage but with purpose. The fourth was sacrifice. She saw herself, giving her magic to save a dying child, and becoming human. Powerless. She hesitated. Then whispered, "I would, if it meant saving someone." And so it went, love, fear, and truth. The 7th test was herself. She stood in the center of the ring, facing herself, robed in silver, crowned in starlight. "Who are you?" the reflection asked. "I'm Lyra," she said, voice cracking. "But I am also a Lariath, heir of the Enchantress, flame-bound to the last Prince of Fire." The reflection smiled, and merged with her. Light exploded. Malvora stood, robes snapping in the wind. "She passed," she hissed. "But she won't escape the price." Kael was dragged into the execution chamber, a great dome of black stone lined with fire pits and weeping gargoyles. The pyre was built high. Kael climbed it with steady steps, never breaking eye contact with Lyra, who now stood free, her magic glowing in waves. "Don't look at me like that," he said. "This was always meant to end this way." "No," she whispered. "It isn't over." Flames roared to life. "Wait!" Malvora cried, realizing too late. Lyra raised her arms, not with rage but love. Her magic answered. Not just moonlight. Creation. Life. Firelight born of love. The pyre exploded upward, not into ash but into wings. Kael rose, reborn. Cloaked in white fire. Eyes glowing. Body whole. He floated down and took Lyra's hand. "You passed," he said. "So did you." Malvora shrieked. "No." The guards fell to their knees. The castle trembled. The Flamebond was complete. Chapter 9, The Moon and the Flame. The skies over Velander split open. Where once gray clouds hung still above the capital, now a spiraling tempest of light and fire surged across the heavens. The kingdom felt it, the breaking of the chains, the awakening of ancient power. Lyra and Kael stood at the castle gates, their fingers entwined. Her magic shimmered in hues of moonlight and starfire. His body pulsed with a steady blaze, no longer wild, no longer cursed. Controlled. Oh. The Flamebond had forged them into something new. And the people, they watched. From alleyways and balconies, from temple steps and dungeon shadows, the people of Velander looked upon the pair not with fear, but with awe. The queen's reign was cracking. Inside the high tower, Malvora screamed into her mirror. "This is impossible. No bond has ever survived." The mirror flickered, showing Lyra and Kael walking through her courtyard, the runes on the stone path lighting beneath their feet. She tore the glass from its frame. Magic bled from her hands. "Then I will destroy them myself." She summoned her final weapon, the Crown of Shadows, a relic forged from the bones of fallen gods. With it she could rewrite magic, bend time, and smother love itself. As she placed it upon her brow, her body transformed. Shadows swirled around her like armor. Her eyes turned black. Her voice dropped to a growl. Let fire and light try to touch me now. Kael and Lyra climbed the final stair of the tower. Wind roared around them. The air felt like steel. And there, beneath a blood-red moon, Malvora waited. Her form was twisted. 10 feet tall. Cloaked in living darkness. You want your destiny? She snarled. Then take it. She struck first. A wave of necroflame spiraled toward them. Kael countered with a wall of living fire. It met the cursed midair and time paused. The force of their magic cracked the tower's walls. Stones flew like feathers. Malvora turned to Lyra. You think love can protect you? She hissed. Lyra stepped forward, silver light blazing in her palms. No. Love is the weapon. You never understood that. She hurled a beam of moonlight straight through the darkness. Malvora screamed, staggering backward. Kael followed with a blast of phoenix fire that engulfed the queen's shadow form. But she didn't fall. I am eternal, she shrieked. She drove her sword into the ground. The tower shattered. They plummeted. But before they hit the ground, Lyra grabbed Kael's hand. Their combined magic erupted, a sphere of pure Flamebond energy. They hovered, suspended in golden light, as the queen's body twisted midair. We end this, Lyra said. Together they chanted the spell of unbinding, an incantation older than kingdoms, meant to release all corrupted souls back to the void. Malvora's shadow exploded in a shriek of fury. She fought to the end, but the love between Lyra and Kael was stronger than any curse she'd ever cast. Her crown fell first. Then her body scattered into stardust. The Queen of Shadows was gone. The clouds parted. The moon returned. Kael and Lyra drifted to the ground, exhausted but alive, their hands still locked. Around them, the kingdom slowly lit with lanterns. Church bells rang. Children ran through the streets singing songs that hadn't been heard since peace reigned. The people bowed. But Lyra and Kael, they simply stood side by side, knowing their fight had not just saved a kingdom. It had saved each other. Chapter 10. Love Beyond Death. The battle was over. Velander stood quiet beneath a dawn unlike any other, soft, golden, and free. For the first time in decades, the castle's shadow no longer darkened the valley. But even as the people celebrated, and magic began to heal the scars of war, Lyra collapsed. Her body glowed faintly as if her soul were slipping through the veil. Kael caught her in his arms, eyes wide with terror. Lyra, stay with me. Please. She smiled faintly, fingers brushing his cheek. I gave everything to the spell. The unbinding, it needed more than magic. It needed me. No, he whispered. Don't say that. You can't leave me. Tears streamed down his face as the light around her began to dim. We were meant to be. The Flamebond chose us. It did, she breathed. And it gave us this moment. I'd trade 1,000 lives for it again. Her head fell against his shoulder. Her breath stilled. The world held its breath. Kael carried her to the sacred lake of the ancients, where magic first bloomed. He knelt in the water, holding her close, surrounded by the spirits of the old world, the moon enchantress, the fire king, the bound lovers who came before. They watched in silence. Kael raised his hand and summoned the final flame, a golden fire that only appeared once in all existence. The true flame of love, lit by sacrifice, untouched by curse or war. If my love is not enough, he cried to the skies, then take my flame. Take my life. Let her live. The flame touched Lyra's body. The water shimmered like starlight. The sky split again. And from the deep, her voice echoed. You are fire. I am light. Together, we are life. A blinding wave of energy surged across the lake. When it cleared, she breathed again. Her eyes opened. Kael? She whispered. He laughed, a sound broken and joyful. You came back to me. She smiled. No. You brought me back. Years passed. Under their reign, Velander became a kingdom of magic and healing, of truth and unity. The Flamebond was never feared again. It became a right of honor, a symbol of balance and boundless love. Children told stories of the girl from the forest with silver in her blood, and the boy who burned but never broke. Lovers placed lanterns in the sacred lake every year to honor their bond. And high above in the stars, a new constellation appeared. 2 figures. one cloaked in fire, one bathed in light, forever entwined.